My husband bought a $5,000 bag for his secretary, but he told me I didn't deserve it. Then I saw it and lost my patience. I exploded. He said it was a professional gesture, but something was wrong, and I went to that woman. I remember the day it all started like it was yesterday. I had been hinting for weeks that I wanted a new handbag, nothing extravagant, just something nice for a change. My current one looked like it had survived a war zone. I casually brought it up again over breakfast. "Do you think I could get that handbag I showed you last week? My birthday is coming up, after all," I said, giving him what I thought was a charming smile. He didn't even look up from his phone. "You don't need a new handbag," he said, his tone dismissive. "The one you have is fine." I couldn't believe my ears. Fine? That thing was practically falling apart. But I let it go, thinking maybe he was trying to save money or surprise me later. Boy, was I wrong. A few days later, I was at the mall when I saw something that made my blood boil. There was my husband's secretary, strutting around with the exact handbag I had wanted. My handbag. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence. Maybe she bought it herself. But then I overheard her bragging to a friend. "Can you believe he got me this? He said I deserved something nice for all my hard work." I froze. He? As in my husband? The husband who told me I didn't need a new handbag. I stormed out of the mall, barely keeping myself together. That night, when he came home, I didn't say a word. I needed to process this. But trust me, the fireworks were coming. I couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her smug face, holding the handbag that should have been mine. My brain was working overtime, piecing together every little thing my husband had done in the past few weeks. Why was he suddenly staying late at work so often? Why was he constantly glued to his phone? And why, oh why, was I such an idiot to believe he was just busy with reports? The next morning, I decided to confront him, but I didn't want to go in without proof. So, I played it cool. Over breakfast, I casually asked, "How's work? You've been spending so much time there lately. Everything okay?" He barely looked up from his coffee. "Yeah, just the usual deadlines," he said. "Usual deadlines?" "Right. And was buying handbags for your secretary part of the usual deadlines too?" I decided to investigate further. That afternoon, I called his office pretending to be someone else. "Hi, this is Maria from XYZ Delivery Service. I have a package for Mrs. Sarah." I lied. The receptionist paused. "Oh, you mean his secretary? She's out for lunch, but I can let her know you called." My stomach churned. Why was everyone treating her like royalty? Why was she getting my handbag? The rage was building, but I told myself to stay calm. I needed a plan. Got it loud and clear. "I'll keep it straightforward and conversational, like someone would tell a story in real life. Let's do this properly now." So, a couple of days after that mall incident, I'm at home just sitting there stewing. I couldn't let it go. I went through his stuff, credit card statements, emails, the whole deal. And guess what? There it was. A receipt for the handbag. And no, it wasn't a receipt addressed to me. It had Sarah's name on it. I mean, how dumb do you have to be? He didn't even hide it. So that night, we're sitting at the table having dinner, and I just blurted out, "So, how's Sarah liking her new handbag?" He stops mid-bite and gives me this look, like he doesn't even understand the question. "What are you talking about?" he says, playing dumb. "Oh, come on," I said, leaning back. "I know you bought her the handbag. The one I wanted. You told me I didn't deserve it, but she does. Explain that to me." And you know what he says? He has the audacity to shrug and go, "She works hard. It was just a thank you gift." A thank you gift? I lost it. I'm like, "So what about me? Your wife? Do I not work hard enough? What kind of thank you do I get?" He doesn't even try to apologize. He just tells me I'm overreacting and that I'm making a big deal out of nothing. Then he grabs his keys, mutters something about needing air, and walks out. I sat there, fuming. I wasn't just angry at him. I was angry at myself for ever thinking he'd put me first. After he stormed out, I just sat there, boiling. I couldn't let it go. I mean, he made me feel like I was crazy, like I was the one overreacting. But seriously, buying her the bag I wanted. That wasn't nothing. That was a slap in the face. So, I started planning. I needed to talk to Sarah. Not in a polite way. I mean, she had the nerve to prance around with that bag like she earned it. I wanted her to know she wasn't just messing with my marriage, she was messing with the wrong person. The next morning, I waited for him to leave for work. As soon as he was gone, I threw on my jacket, got in my car, and headed straight to his office. When I walked in, I saw her sitting at her desk, sipping coffee like she didn't have a care in the world. The handbag, my handbag, was sitting right there on her desk, like a trophy. "Hey, Sarah," I said, walking up to her. My voice was calm, but I was seething inside. She looked up and smiled, clearly not expecting what was coming. "Oh, hi. What brings you here?" I pointed at the handbag. "That. Let's talk about that." Her smile disappeared. "Oh, this? It was a gift from Mr. Johnson. For work." "For work?" I laughed, but it wasn't because it was funny. "What kind of work are you doing that gets you a $5,000 handbag?" She stammered something about being a hard-working employee, but I wasn't buying it. I didn't care if I was making a scene. I wasn't leaving without making my point. Sarah starts stammering excuses like, "Oh, he just wanted to show appreciation," and, "It's nothing personal." But I wasn't having it. I leaned over her desk, probably a little too close, and said, "Listen, honey, if you think it's appropriate to accept gifts like that from a married man, you're not just wrong, you're stupid." She went pale. "Mrs. Johnson, I think you're misunderstanding." "Oh, I understand just fine," I snapped, pointing at the handbag. "You're walking around flaunting something that should have been mine, while my husband tells me I don't deserve it. You think that's okay?" And then it happened. She said, "Well, maybe he didn't think you'd appreciate it the way I do." That was it. I lost all sense of decorum. I reached out, grabbed her ponytail, and yanked it. "Let me make this very clear," I hissed. "You stay away from my husband, or I'll make sure this handbag is the last thing you ever get from anyone." She screamed, pulling back, and I let go, mostly because I realized I was on camera. The office security camera. Just as I was about to make my dramatic exit, guess who walks in? Yep, my husband. He stops in his tracks, staring at me and Sarah, me, red-faced and fuming, Sarah, clutching her ponytail like I'd scalped her. "What the hell is going on here?" he asked, his voice full of that fake innocence that made me want to throw the handbag at his head. He's standing there, staring at the two of us like we're a soap opera he accidentally walked into. I turned to him, barely able to contain myself. "Oh, you want to know what's going on? Your wife is here dealing with the mess you created, that's what." Sarah was still clutching her ponytail, sniffling like I just ruined her life. "Mr. Johnson, I swear, I didn't do anything, she just..." "Don't even start," I shouted, pointing at her. "You're the one parading around with a handbag that was supposed to be mine, acting like it's no big deal." He looked at me, then at Sarah, and finally had the audacity to say, "Can we not do this here?" "Oh no," I snapped. "We're doing this right here, right now. Why don't you tell your little secretary why I don't deserve a new handbag, but she does?" He sighed, like I was the one being unreasonable. "It's not what you think," he said, running a hand through his hair. "I got it for her as a professional gesture. She's been working really hard." "Professional?" I laughed, bitter and loud. "Does your professional handbook include buying luxury gifts for your employees while telling your wife she's not worth it? Because if it does, I'd love to see the chapter on that." By this point, the office had gone silent. A few coworkers were peeking out of their cubicles, clearly eating this up. Sarah looked like she wanted to disappear into her chair. He pulled me aside, lowering his voice. "You're making a scene." I'm making a scene? I said, laughing bitterly. You're the one making your secretary feel like she's more important than your wife, and I'm the problem? I didn't wait for him to respond. I stormed out, leaving him and Sarah standing there like two deer caught in headlights. I drove home so fast I probably set a land speed record. My hands were shaking, my head was pounding, and I couldn't believe what had just happened. I mean, I knew I was mad, but pulling her ponytail? That was a new low, even for me. When he got home, I was already waiting for him. Arms crossed, foot tapping, the whole 9 yards. He walked in like he was entering a lion's den, which, to be fair, he was. So, I started, my voice ice cold. Care to explain why your secretary gets handbags and professional gestures while your wife gets dismissed like she's nothing? He sighed, tossing his keys on the counter. I told you, it wasn't a big deal. You're blowing this way out of proportion. Out of proportion? I said, laughing bitterly. You're buying her luxury gifts while telling me I don't deserve one. And I'm the one overreacting? He rubbed his temples like he was the victim in all of this. It's not about you not deserving it. She's been dealing with a lot of stress at work, and I wanted to show some appreciation. Oh, so she's stressed? Poor Sarah. And what about me? Do you think it's not stressful being married to someone who clearly doesn't respect me? He didn't have an answer for that, so he did what he always does. He walked away, grabbed a pillow, muttered something about needing space, and went straight to the couch. That's when it hit me. He wasn't even going to try to fix this. He didn't think he'd done anything wrong. He stayed on the couch that night, and I didn't bother saying anything. What was the point? The next morning, I walked past him in the kitchen like he didn't exist. I was mad, and honestly, I wanted him to know it without me saying a single word. So, he tries to break the ice. Good morning, he says, real casual, like he didn't just blow up our marriage with a handbag. I looked at him, then at my coffee, then back at him. Oh, you're talking to me? I thought you only talked to Sarah. And I walked off. I spent the rest of the day being as passive-aggressive as humanly possible. I didn't yell, didn't throw things. I just made sure every little thing reminded him of what he'd done. Lunch? I made the worst sandwich I could imagine and left it out for him while I ate the good leftovers. When he finally couldn't take the silence anymore, he said, Look, are we really going to keep this up? Can we just talk? Oh, now you want to talk? I shot back. Funny, because you didn't seem interested in talking when you were buying her a handbag. He rolled his eyes. It wasn't like that. I already told you, it was just a thank you gift. And you didn't think maybe your wife would appreciate a thank you gift too? He didn't answer, just sat there rubbing his face like I was exhausting him. Like he was the victim here. And that just made me even angrier. The silent treatment didn't last long, because I'm not good at keeping my mouth shut when I'm this mad. Later that evening, I saw him sitting on the couch, scrolling on his phone like he didn't have a care in the world. And I just couldn't take it anymore. You know, I started, standing in the doorway. For someone who says I don't deserve things, you sure seem comfortable sitting on my couch in my house. He put his phone down and sighed, like I was the one ruining his life. What do you want me to say? Oh, I don't know, maybe start with an apology? Or better yet, explain why your secretary needs handbags to do her job? She doesn't need them, he said, already sounding defensive. It was just something nice. She's been going through a tough time. That hit a nerve. Oh, so she's had a tough time? And what about me? Do you think I've just been living the dream over here while you're out playing Santa for your secretary? You're being ridiculous, he said, standing up. It's not like I did anything wrong. You don't think it's wrong to tell your wife she doesn't deserve something and then turn around and buy it for another woman? Sarah is just my employee, he snapped. You're twisting this into something it's not. I couldn't believe it. He wasn't sorry. He was doubling down. You know what? I said, throwing my hands up. Fine. Sleep on the couch for the rest of your life for all I care. And I walked off before I said something I'd regret. The tension was unbearable. He stayed on the couch, barely speaking to me, and I kept my distance. I thought he'd break first, apologize, or at least admit he was wrong. But nope. He acted like he was the victim, and that just made my blood boil even more. One night, I came into the living room to grab my phone charger, and there he was, sitting on the couch watching TV. I couldn't help myself. "Comfortable?" I asked, crossing my arms. He muted the TV and looked at me, annoyed. "Do you really have to start this again?" "Oh, sorry," I said, dripping with sarcasm. "I didn't realize I was interrupting your me time. Don't let your guilty conscience get in the way." He rolled his eyes. "What do you want from me?" "I want you to understand how messed up this is," I shouted. "You don't see anything wrong with what you did, do you? Buying her a handbag, defending her, and treating me like I'm the crazy one for being upset?" He stood up, clearly done with the conversation. "You're blowing this out of proportion," he said, grabbing his jacket. "I'm going for a walk." "Yeah, go," I said, throwing my hands up. "Maybe you can buy her a matching wallet while you're at it." He slammed the door behind him, and I sat there, fuming. This wasn't just about the handbag anymore. It was about respect, about priorities. And it was becoming painfully clear that I wasn't one of his. When he walked out that night, I thought he'd just take a quick walk to cool off. Maybe even come back with some half-hearted apology. But no. He didn't come back for hours. By midnight, I was pacing the living room, torn between being angry and actually worried. I finally called him. It rang, then went to voicemail. I texted, "Where are you?" No response. By 1 a.m., I was imagining all sorts of scenarios. Had he gone to a bar? Was he staying with a friend? Or, worst of all, was he with her? When he finally came home around 2 a.m., I was waiting at the door. "Where the hell were you?" I asked. "Out," he said flatly, brushing past me like I didn't deserve an explanation. "Out doing what?" I pressed, following him into the kitchen. "And don't you dare lie to me." He turned around, clearly fed up. "You really want to know? Fine. I went to a bar, okay? I needed to get away from this constant drama." "Oh, so I'm the drama now?" I snapped. "Not the guy buying handbags for his secretary and acting like he's done nothing wrong? I don't have to explain myself to you," he shot back. "And yet here you are," I said, folding my arms. "Explaining yourself anyway." He glared at me, grabbed a glass of water, and stormed off to the couch without another word. The next morning, I decided I was done with the silent treatment. Not because I wasn't still furious, but because I couldn't live like this anymore. The tension in the house was suffocating. So I sat down across from him while he scrolled on his phone, completely ignoring me. "We need to talk," I said. He sighed, put his phone down, and looked at me with that tired expression he'd been wearing for days. "What now? What now?" I repeated, incredulous. "Let's start with the fact that you've completely disrespected me. You told me I didn't deserve a handbag, bought the exact one for your secretary, and now you're acting like I'm the problem for being mad about it." "I've already explained this," he said, rubbing his temples. "It wasn't about you. It was about showing appreciation for someone who works hard." "Someone who works hard?" I said, my voice rising. "What about me? I work hard every single day to keep this house running, to support you, and I don't even get a thank you, let alone a designer handbag." He threw his hands up. "What do you want me to say? I'm sorry, okay? I didn't think it would be such a big deal." "A big deal?" I laughed bitterly. "You didn't think buying another woman a gift that you refused to buy your wife would be a big deal?" Before he could answer, his phone buzzed on the table. And guess whose name popped up? Sarah. I stared at the screen, then at him. "Seriously?" He grabbed the phone, but it was too late. I'd seen it. "She's probably just texting about work," he said, like that made it okay. "You know what?" I said, standing up. "I'm done. You can keep your little work wife and your pathetic excuses. I'm not playing this game anymore." I walked out of the room, slamming the door behind me. I didn't talk to him for the rest of the day. I needed time to process everything, to figure out what I was going to do next. Part of me wanted to confront Sarah again, make it clear that she wasn't just messing with my marriage, she was messing with my sanity. But I knew that wouldn't solve anything. That night, while he was sitting on the couch pretending to watch TV, I finally said what had been building up in me for days. "You know," I started, standing in the doorway, "I don't think you even care about fixing this." He muted the TV and looked at me. "What do you want me to do?" "I already said I'm sorry." "Sorry?" I laughed. "You're sorry you got caught. You're not sorry for what you did." He shook his head. "You're overthinking this. Sarah is just my secretary. That's it. If she's just your secretary," I snapped, "why is she texting you at all hours? Why are you buying her gifts? Why are you defending her more than you've defended me in this entire argument?" He didn't have an answer, just looked down at his hands like they held the secret to escaping this conversation. "You don't even see it, do you?" I said. "You've spent this entire time trying to justify your actions instead of trying to make things right with me." He finally looked up. "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to figure out what's more important to you," I said. "This marriage, or whatever it is you're doing with Sarah. Because right now, it feels like I'm just your roommate while she's getting all the attention I should be getting." He didn't respond, and I realized I wasn't going to get the answer I wanted. So I grabbed a pillow and blanket from the hall closet, tossed them onto the couch, and said, "Enjoy your night." Again. I went to bed that night knowing things between us would never be the same.